Well, here it is. It's time to start my new project. So what I have here is a 1982 Chevy Blazer. It's K5, four-wheel drive, 350, automatic, and then the rest of it's pretty typical. I got a really good deal on this because it needs a lot of work. Got rust repair I need to take care of. And then in the back, obviously, I got some repair here to do on both corners. And cosmetics, accessories, all kinds of stuff. I've already purchased a bunch of parts for this. The interior is junk. Looks pretty bad. I got some better interior pieces. Got carpets and all kinds of stuff to throw in it when I get to that point, but we got to do all the sheet metal work first. But before I even do any of that work, I got to get this thing running. I believe it to be a runner, but he was having transmission issues. He got the transmission pulled out. I got it sitting on a cart over here. But I just want to put it right back to the way it was, pretty much back to stock. I'm kind of restore this, and I want it to look good. So under the hood, I'll show you what some of the problems. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a lot of things missing and that need attention. And just try to clean it up under here the best I can. It's pretty hard to find a good deal on a Blazer anymore. They range anywhere from something like this, not even running, usually about $2,000. I think I paid $16 for this. I can't remember exactly. Which I thought was a great deal for the work it needed, and the majority of it was really solid, especially if this is a good running motor, which I believe it to be. We'll find out shortly, because that's number one on my list, to get it running. And then we'll get the transmission in it and everything hooked up so it's driving. And then we'll start on the, before I even get too crazy, I'm going to gut the interior on this thing and pressure wash the whole inside of it, just get it all cleaned out really good. So anyhow, that's my project, and we're going to get busy on this thing. So I tried to crank it over and come in here to see what's going on, because it's just, starter's just grinding, and we're missing a couple of bolts. And then looking at it even closer, that gear is too big, the starter won't engage. And then looking back in here, the flywheel cannot even sit flat on the back of the crank here. So I am obviously switching this back over to a flex plate, but that wasn't even right. I don't think he even realized that he had the wrong starter to engage with that flywheel. So we will pull this off and get a flex plate. I'm gonna have to order one. The one we have out there is bent. So we'll get that ordered, and then we'll go back to business. Got a bad exhaust leak. All right, now that it's running, makes me feel really good. But there's a couple things I mentioned earlier, like this return spring. Looks like something I would have done in an emergency, but springs don't cost much. I actually have a couple laying around, so I'm going to change that. All these kind of things, I'll put new cables on here. But I'm actually going to pull the motor out, since there's not much holding it in here, and just the headers and motor mounts and a few little things up front here. I'm going to pull it out and do like I always do, pull the pan off, change the rear seal, front seal, some of the gaskets, paint it up, make it clean, and pressure wash everything. I'll do that pressure wash before I even try to paint anything, but I want to get all this pressure washed, all this gook off of here, and refresh some of this paint, clean this stuff up. But I got around here since that was my main concern, was the engine. I pulled the carpets and seats out of it to check it out. This was actually better than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be rusted through there. It's not. Here it is, obviously, which I knew that was. I could see that just with the carpets in place. In the back, little hole there. Those should be pretty easy, nice flat steel. There's a big hole there in the corner, right there. And that's probably a little worse than I thought, but it's all right. But over here, there's no holes. It's pretty solid. I take a screwdriver and I jam into it to make sure it's not gonna go all the way through. But I just main spots I was thinking, and they're about what I was thinking, I guess. So it's probably better. But there's a lot of surface rust scale. I will wire wheel this off and treat it with rust kill. And back there, pretty much the same as we saw before. Well, now that it's running, I can start tearing into everything. I will pull the engine out and get it and the Blazer outside. I'm going to pressure wash the engine bay, the engine, and the inside of this so that everything's clean. We'll get it back in here and get it dried out, and then I can start tearing into the rust repair. I got the inside cleaned out a little bit. It was pretty grimy. And I'm going to do some rust repair and treatment. I needed to get all that grime off of it. Back here looks way better. So I had the nasty part of the Blazer all cleaned out, the engine bay, the front suspension, and other parts and pieces. But I wanted to get the engine cleaned off. I don't think it was leaking, but it was pretty grimy. I wanted to get it clean. The engine bay, the tranny and transfer case. So everything's clean. Oh, headers and drive lines too. So I'm going to let everything sit out here in the sun. It's got a nice sunny day. And dry out. Let that dry out some too. And then I'll just get everything back in the shop and let it finish drying. This engine, I'm going to most likely replace gaskets and seals on it. I usually do. I don't like them leaking. And I want this to be a high quality looking thing. And it doesn't look that way when it's leaking. So we'll get that fixed or changed or attended to. The transmission, I already put gaskets and seals in it. Transfer case, I need to put a seal on that one too. But I'm going to let this sit out here and dry. I'm going to go change and dry out too. And we'll get all this back in the shop. Okay, after searching through all my parts, trying to find the missing pieces for this, there was a few things. This wasn't the original engine. I think originally it was a 305, I'm pretty sure. This is a 350. So anyhow, I just painted it up GM blue, threw a factory air cleaner on it, just kind of make it look like it should originally. I just think when you pop a hood and everything looks clean and bright and cherry. Factory, it just kind of looks untouched, I guess. And I got under the hood ready to accept that motor. Mainly concentrated on the bed rails and the firewall. I will pull the inner fenders out and get them all painted up. So I'm going to pull air cleaner off the distributor cap and headers, mate it up to the transmission, and we'll throw the engine and transmission all at one time, and then we'll throw the transfer case on after. That should be a lot easier. Look at this. There, we got it in. I just need to hook up everything, put the headers in, and blah, blah, blah. And I got to put a cross member under the transmission. But it's good. Well, got it set in. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate your help. This is where we're going to wipe it up. This is where we're going to wipe it up. Catch up with you guys later. Bye.